Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Wow, what an absolutely gorgeous morning. The sunshine, not only is it warm on my cheek there, but it's hitting the icicles on the trees here. Just makes it glisten and looks quite amazing. Truly is beautiful back in here. I really love it. Well, guys, the article that I was reading this morning is truly telltale about where we are in the state of the world and just how much we have fallen when it comes to our national pride and dignity. And a lot of you are going to be aware of this story. So apparently, there is a spy balloon, not a satellite, an actual balloon being allowed to float right across Canada, right across the United States, and the government at this point is saying, oh, well, we're just going to let it do its thing and just track all the way through. And I'm thinking, you have got to be kidding me. A Chinese spy balloon being allowed to float over American airspace at will and just spy on all these things, and now is tracking right over Montana. And of course, we know, the Montana is a big state that has a lot of our, nuclear silos and all that kind of stuff over in there. And they're allowing this just to float all the way by. Now, ask yourself a question like this. Do you think China would let the United States or Canada or any Western power float a spy balloon over their country? You have got to be kidding me. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And it gives one pause to wonder, are these politicians, are our major leaders, are they in league with this? Is this just a big dog and pony show that, we're really not enemies with anybody? In fact, that these people, these communist countries that have human rights abuses like absolutely obscene, that we're actually in partnership with all these people, of course. And it really doesn't matter. We're willing to trade our information and our secret and just let them float a balloon over. I mean, do you think that that would have happened if Ronald Reagan was the president or even Donald Trump or something like that? I think that balloon would have been dust and ashes long ago. This is just getting to the point of ridiculous and shows you just how far we have fallen when it comes to our national sovereignty and identity. It's not America. It is not America or the Western powers that I would have ever grew up in, where we actually took pride in our national identities. And it's not to say that, hey, look, we can't cooperate and diplomacy can't have a part in everything and we can't actually get along with people and things like that. I totally agree with that. But there is something to be said about your national identity, your pride, that kind of thing. Dignity, not arrogance, dignity. There used to be some kind of dignity in your family name, dignity in your character as a person. Nowadays, you just can't really trust what anybody says because most people have been almost conditioned that it's okay to just twist the truth and bend it a little bit here and bend it a little bit there, and in fact come right out and lie to your face. I mean, when you saw Elizabeth Warren and all that was going on between her and Gary Gensler, what was your response to that? Do you think that that is something that we should be tolerating out of our politicians? That they would collude with the people they actually are supposed to have oversight over and hold them to some level of accountability? But in that situation, what did she do? She went out there and said, oh, are the questions okay? We don't want to ruffle your feathers over there. We want to make it easy as pie for you so that you don't feel very uncomfortable when we question you about the money that we actually use to support your agency and hold you to account on oversight. That woman needs to be kicked right out of office, and Gary Gensler along with her for that type of collusion. That, as far as I'm concerned, is basically a breach of her oath of office. And realistically, she should be recalled and taken out of office. That's what should happen. But do you think anything like that will happen, guys? Come on, we all know probably not. But these very same people will hold us to a standard that they're not even willing to actually step up to. Can you imagine? They say, oh, if you lie on your tax return, boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what, that's a criminal offense, on and on and on, and stuff like this. There's no fudging for us. No, it's absolutely ridiculous, guys, and it needs to stop. And letting a spy balloon float over your country and actually put your own citizens at risk. This country does not belong to the politicians. It belongs to we, the people who actually elect and employ these politicians. They work for you and I. We don't work for them. And we need to actually remind a few of them that that is the contract that we have with them when we send them out there, to represent us. I mean, they have gotten to the point where they believe that they're above any level of accountability or scrutiny or anything, and that they're actually entitled to these positions. Because why? They have dumbed down the electorate, guys. They truly have. They have used all the social media. They have controlled the narrative when it comes to the airwaves on the news. I mean, just yesterday, they want to get rid of objective news and just use advocacy news. They have literally dumbed down the electorate, and they have literally done things, in my view, that have contravened the very heart and the very soul of what the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution really mean. It is truly unbelievable that you would tolerate this kind of stuff. But hey, you know what? If nobody holds them to account, if nobody gets out there and says anything, then, and they're just allowed to go on this way, we've literally acquiesced in our silence to allow this to go on. It is truly crazy. And you cannot call this a country of values, a country of, standards, of moral ideals any longer. I mean, maybe we lost that a long, long time ago, and I'm living in a pipe dream myself, hey? Because that's, just the way I believe, what's on the inside. Look, you look at those great leaders. You look at like Martin Luther King coming out and saying, hey, when we're judged by the content of our character, and that's what we need to judge people by. It's the content of I don't care what comes out of their mouth. What do they do? What are their actions? How do they live behind closed doors, not in front of the camera? How are they? How do they treat their family? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat their neighbors? How do they manage and utilize their finances? Are they doing things like Paul Pelosi is there and seems to never, ever have a bad call when it comes to an investment? Never has a loss. Amazingly, whether he's shorting it or longing it, isn't that amazing how some of these politicians or their spouses never, ever seem to make a bad call, where the rest of us, hey, it's a crapshoot most times. It is just, it's too much, guys, too much. And it just seems like nobody has the resolve to call anybody into account. And I just think eventually at some point there's got to be a breaking point. We should be demanding that this spy balloon be taken down and taken out. I mean, goodness sakes, are we going to give up that much of our sovereignty, that much of our security? And I love that old statement. And sometimes I forget who actually said it, whether it was Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson. But basically the statement was, hey, if for those who would give up their liberty for security deserve neither. Something to that effect. And I actually agree with that. Look, there comes a time where you really have to say, this is it, no further. This is it. This is the maximum amount that I compromise. I believe in diplomacy, guys. I believe in working it out. I believe in letting people have an opportunity to share their point of view and their opinion. Absolutely believe that. But at some point in time, when you've done everything you can to try to work it out and to try to, build a bridge and all that kind of stuff, and there's no bridges that are ever going to be built, well, hey, there is a time for war, as well as there's a time for peace. At some point in time, you have to say, this is the line. This is as far as I can go on this subject without, there being any kind of a conflict. And that's how it is. And you know what they call that, guys? Boundaries. Those are boundaries. That's called healthy self-respect. And as a nation, we need to have it. As a people, we need to have it. As individuals, we need to have it. And it's a gift you give yourself. And the person that does that shows respect for themselves, and they show respect for others. That is a true fact. That is how it works. And so, hey, in this situation, Leo, I am just absolutely mind blown that they would even allow this to happen. And it just shows you the state of affairs that we're in, the conditions that we're in the world. Can we even trust anything that we're being told? I think it's getting harder and harder and harder to do that. Well, Well, anyways, guys, that's where I'm at with it. And praise God, it is Friday. And Fridays are always amazing because, of course, we got the weekends to look forward to. And weekends are for family and friends. And that's what we do around the house. We have family and friend time on the weekends. I sure hope that you take time out this weekend to spend with your family and your friends. And you have an amazing one. So, guys, until later on today, we do have a video coming out. I sure hope you have a fantastic Friday and take care.